let me ask you some serious questions. Is this too hard? Or what about this? Well, I got news for you. You are not alone, and there are many alternatives to these two exercises. So, let me teach you what real beginner exercises look like. Hey there, Coach Tyler here with WeShape, where we teach you how to move better so you can feel better. And this video is for all the beginners out there. And when I say beginner, I'm not talking about people who are just trying to get into working out and figuring out what they need to do in order to get to advanced levels and finally see these big gains, right? What I'm really talking about is someone who's a complete beginner. Because a lot of these so-called beginner exercises, like a push-up or a squat, are not going to work for you. And that's because maybe you don't have the strength or the flexibility to even get into those positions. Maybe you have an injury, or maybe you simply don't know how to move your body in a safe way yet. You see, we're all about making sure that beginner exercises are actually beginner exercises at WeShape. And we're constantly trying to figure out the best ways to help people who have been let down and left out of working out. So, when my team and I set out to make more beginner exercise videos, one thing we noticed is that there aren't a lot of people offering any real beginner level exercises. We've been helping people move their bodies better for years, and we can't tell you how many of our clients can't do a regular push-up or a squat. And apart from actual physical therapy movements, it's pretty hard to find exercises that will help you build the right kinds of strength, flexibility, and coordination to help you get to these traditional beginner exercises. So, today, we'll be working on push-ups that you can do against a wall, and squats you can do while sitting on your couch. And guess what? If those are still too hard, we're also gonna share with you exercises that you can do while lying down. Because we believe that starting people off from where they really are, not where you think you should be, is how you really start to feel great in your body again. All right, let's talk about the push-up. And by the way, when we're talking about exercising, what we're talking about is doing movements with our body, which is why at WeShape, we like to use the word movements instead of exercises when we talk about them. All right, let's jump in to the push-up, and I'll show you the first movement you can try. Perhaps my favorite upper body exercise in the world is the push-up. And most people can't do it, like you already know. And so a very simple variation of the push-up is called the wall push-up. It's one of the best ways to learn proper form and really strengthen all the muscles so that you can eventually graduate to doing more difficult variations. So here's how to do the wall push-up. First, you're gonna need a wall that's nice and sturdy, okay? So don't lean up against a door or anything like that. I don't want anybody to get hurt on our account. Start with your feet right underneath your hips and your toes facing straight forward. From there, let's work on the posture first. So squeeze the glutes and tuck the pelvis, okay? What that means is instead of sticking your butt out as you do the push-ups, you're gonna squeeze the glutes and tuck the pelvis. Put your hands about shoulder height or slightly below on the wall. And you're gonna have them a little bit wider than shoulder width. And the first thing I want you to do with your hands is grip the wall with your hands. So squeeze the wall with your hands. When you squeeze the wall with your hands, you're gonna strengthen the wrists at the same time, which will eventually allow you to be able to hold this position on the ground, hopefully without any wrist pain because you've been working on that strength the whole time. Now, depending on how far your feet are from the wall, makes it more difficult. The closer your feet are, the easier it is. The further you are, the harder it is. So squeeze those glutes, squeeze the core, find that hand position. Now bring your elbows towards your hips as you come down to your nose, and then press yourself away from the wall and extend your elbows all the way. Another cool thing is think about turning your elbow pits toward the sky at the end, and that's gonna help to improve your posture by bringing your shoulder back and down at the end, okay? So slow and controlled, glutes, core, fingers, right? Tall to the top of the head, and come down to the nose, elbows are low, press back up. Don't let those elbows flare out like this. That's gonna put a lot of pressure on your shoulder. Keep them down nice and low, and really try to feel all the muscles underneath your armpit, your chest, your triceps, everything working as you do this exercise. Now, if you're doing this exercise and it's still a little bit too hard for you, then try this variation next. Real quick, if this real beginner exercise is showing you that you might be doing too much, then make sure you check out all the other videos on our channel. Hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon. That way we can send a notification every time we make a new video with beginner exercises just like this. If any sort of push-up is still too difficult for you, then there's an even more beginner variation of this movement. And this is a wonderful variation of this movement if you have things like shoulder pain or elbow pain, and you really just need to teach your body how to move properly through the push-up exercise without putting any resistance or weight on it, okay? This is called the lying bench press, and here's how to do it with perfect form. You're gonna lie down on your back. You can bring your knees up if you'd like, or if you'd like, you can just bring your legs flat like this. It doesn't really matter. From there, what I want you to do is take your shoulders and shrug them up like this. Now do the opposite. Drive them down like that. You can even walk your shoulder blades towards your glutes a little bit, and it's totally okay to have a little bit of an arch in your back here. Now you're gonna take your fingertips and point them towards the sky. I don't want your arms up like this flared out. I want them at about a 45-degree angle. From there, you're gonna drive your elbows into the ground and think about lifting your chest towards the roof ahead of you, like this. Lift the chest. Now when you do this, you should feel the muscles between your shoulder blades and even inside your armpits firing, okay? Squeeze those muscles, then press your arms towards the ceiling, and at the top, I want you to squeeze the muscles of your chest. So if you can't feel your muscles working, you can always put your hands together and try to push them together as hard as you can, and that's going to fire the biceps, the triceps, and the chest muscles. So from here, and then back down, push the elbows in the ground. So here you're working the back side of the body, here you're working the front side of your body. Here you're working the back side of your body, here you're working the front side of your body. And you can go back and forth, slow and controlled, getting that little squeeze at each portion of this lying bench press. And when you do, you're gonna come up and go, whoa, I've activated all these muscles in my entire upper body. And it's a completely beginner movement that anybody can do because you can control how much you push your elbows on the ground and how much you squeeze at the top. So move slow and controlled, focus on form first, intensity second, and really try to practice exercise frequently so you can build the strength to eventually move up to doing more beginner variations of the push-up. One of my favorite beginner lower body movements is the supported sit to stand. And it's a great movement for people who know they should be doing something like squats, which is one of the best movements of all time to help you strengthen your lower body, but can't actually do them. So, to start out with, you get yourself a nice chair behind you, and I'll go through how to do this movement with perfect form. So, start with your feet slightly outside of hip width and toes slightly turned outward. Really make sure that as you go up and down, your knee is going the same direction as your toes. Don't let it cave in. That's the most common thing that we see is the knee caving in, but don't let it go out too far either, because when you do, it'll put unnecessary pressure on your knee joint. From there, put the majority of the weight on your heels, about 70% of the weight on your heels and just about 30% on your toes. And instead of starting the movement by pushing your knees forward, what we want you to do is start the movement by pushing your butt backwards like this. So you're gonna push your butt backwards like that. Now the moment you can reach your thighs, I want you to put your hands on your thighs and press into them for support. Keep pushing the butt back and hinging through the hips like this. So I don't want you to round your back like this, but keep pushing the butt backwards, weights on the heels, hands are on the knees for support. Come to a seated position and then reverse the motion. So you're gonna bow forward, not round your back forward, you're gonna bow forward, press into those thighs, press into those heels, and then extend the hips to the top position, okay? Slow and controlled. Inhale as you go down if you can. Exhale as you come up. Now the hands on the thighs is gonna help support your body and give you a little bit more strength to be able to do a squat. And then making sure the weight in your heels and your knee going the same direction as your toes is gonna protect your knees and hips at the same time. Now, this is a wonderful movement that almost anybody can do, but if it's still too difficult for you, then I'm gonna show you an even easier variation that you can do while lying down next. Before we get to the last movement, if these real beginner exercises are really resonating with you and you want more of them for the rest of your body, well, you're gonna love the workouts that we create over at WeShape. What we do is ask you a series of questions to identify what level of each movement you should be doing. Then, we put together a follow-along workout where every movement in your workout is personalized just to you, your goals, your capabilities, and your availability. And the best part is, you can try it today for free. Just go to WeShape.com or click the link below and you can give it a shot. One of my favorite beginner movements is called the lying heel push. It's great for people with knee pain, for people who can't do squats, and all sorts of other lower body exercises because it doesn't involve any motion inside the knee or inside the hip. It just involves you learning to build a better connection with all the muscles of your legs that will eventually get strong enough to you being able to do things like squats and lunges without causing any pain in your knees or hips. So here's how to do it with good form. The lying heel push, all right? Lay down on your back and bring your feet underneath your butt with your toes facing forward. Now the most important thing right here is that we make sure our knees don't flop out like this or they don't turn in like this. Because what you want is you want to make sure that your thigh bone and your toes are going the same direction. That's because that knee joint is a hinge joint. It's supposed to go like this. It's not supposed to go side to side like that, okay? From there, I want you to drive your fingertips towards the ground, turn your thumbs to the outside so you can open up your posture and just relax your neck. Then you're gonna bring your toes towards your nose, right? Just lift your toes up like this. You're gonna drive your heels into the ground, right? So all you're doing at this point is just pushing your heels into the ground. You see how it kind of slides my body backwards like that? Fires all these muscles right here, all these muscles right here, all these muscles right here. Hold for a second and then relax. Inhale as you push and then relax. And just repeat this real slow. And each time trying to build a little more tension in those leg muscles. Seems very simple and very easy. And that's because it is. But it's going to build a really good connection from your mind to your muscles. And it's going to start preparing those muscles using what's called an isometric movement to develop the strength necessary to eventually be able to do things like squats, lunges, etc., without having to experience pain because you're doing those exercises before you're strong. So again, move slow and controlled, but really, really take the time to enjoy how amazing it is that there's a beginner movement like this that anybody can do to strengthen their lower body, even if they can't sit up from their own bed. All right, I'm so happy you learned some real beginner exercises. I just wanted to add that I hope you take it slow. I'd rather have you do everything with perfect form than try and do more and get injured. So be patient, okay? Otherwise, we can't wait to hear how it's going. Also, please send this out to a friend who's also struggling to find real beginner movements that they can actually do. And I hope you'll stick around and check out our next video right here. I'll see you there.